Time for an update video, I think. It's a nice sunny Sunday morning, so just thought I'd make a video showing what's going on. Talk about some of the problems I was having and updates to those problems like pH level, water hardness and deficiencies. So at the moment everything's looking pretty good. In the previous video I was talking about water hardness. So I managed to get that down to an okay level. My pH is still up around the 7.4 to 7.8 mark, which is higher than I'd like, but I've come to the conclusion that if there's any carbonate buffer in the system at all, the pH will be above 7 and there's nothing I can do about it. So I'm just going to leave it for now. Some other problems I was having, you can see in these beetroot leaves. There's red colour, there's bits missing, just very discoloured. There's some spots. Some of them are worse than others. I'll show you this one. This is probably the worst, where the leaves gone bright red. Well, on this plant the leaves have always been bright red. The leaves are misshapen, deformed, so they're very short and pointed like a spearhead or an arrow. And on this one you can see the edges are all curled up and the leaves are curling inwards. And for a long time I couldn't really work out what was doing this, but I came to the conclusion that it was either iron or manganese deficiency. I found a really good website that had some photos of different deficiencies in table beets. I think the book was from 1943, so that was quite interesting. But anyway, so my iron level was probably about 0.5 ppm. So I decided to bump it up a bit towards 2 ppm. Because I've got the high pH, I've had to use the EDDHA iron supplement, chelated iron. So I ended up adding about 12 grams of that in. I think it was 12 grams, and that's like a 6% concentration. I got my iron content up to pretty close to 2 parts per million, and that was last weekend, 7 days ago. And you can see, well, I think anyway, that the new leaves on these beetroot plants now look a lot healthier. They're a lot greener, less veiny, they're more healthy shape. And you can see on this one that looked pretty sick, the old leaves look sick, but the new leaves actually look pretty normal. You can see it there as well. This leaf looks pretty normal. So I think it was probably the iron that was doing it. So the downside with the EDDHA is it makes your water look like this. This is the system water I just took out just now. That's quite an amazing colour. It's like red tea or something. It's very striking. As far as the fish are concerned, I don't think they care because they're native Australian fish and they're quite small. If they were in the wild, they'd be hiding in dark places and in tannin stained water anyway. So that's not a problem. But yeah, it just looks a bit funny. But anyway, that was that problem. I've also sprayed some manganese sulfate. That's the other problem I thought I had, was a manganese deficiency. That's what these symptoms sort of line up with, a manganese deficiency. So you spray manganese sulfate about 5 grams per litre, just spray it over the leaves, and you only have to do that once or twice. The plant absorbs it very quickly. So I've done that, and maybe that'll help as well. We'll just wait and see. Apart from the beetroot, apart from the beetroot, I've got this celery, which is suddenly doing very well, suddenly started booming. Got some nice thick stems. It's getting pretty tall, big healthy leaves. I've put some other things in, like a few beans, you can see here. There's another bean there. There's some more celery along here. I just decided to use up a packet of seeds, and looks like most of them germinated, which is pretty good, but I'm going to have to thin them out. This is a silver beet. There's quite a few silver beet plants. They seem to be doing really well. Small silver beet. Yeah, that's about it. There's a few onions in here, but that aren't doing much. I mean, I only put them in here because I thinned them out from a garden bed that was getting overcrowded. Put them in here, but they're not doing as good as the dirt ones. Yeah, that's where I'm up to at the moment. Can't see much in the fish tank because of the watercolour. But yeah, there you go. Other things that have been happening in the garden is new wicking bed. We only just filled this up yesterday. So it's made out of old permapine fence palings. It's 2.5 metres by 1 metre wide and about 500 or so millimetres tall. There's only about 30 or 40 centimetres of actual soil in there though. The rest of it is sand and agpipe water reservoir. You can see the overflow down there. That's the top up. Probably should have put those further apart, but whatever. There's a plastic liner that goes up all the way up to the edges. And yeah, just ready to plant that out, I think. We put the posts on the inside because it makes a nice flush outside finish, and we had these, it was just easier to do the corners when you can attach the boards to the outside of the post like that. We could use one post for each corner instead of two. Because these are old permapine fence palings, they're a bit soft and they're about 30 or 40 years old. So not the best. So we used very, very long wood tech screws to hold them in, 2 on each board. And this black stuff is steel pallet strapping. So I've used a one piece of pallet strapping to cover all 4 boards like that. I have a metal hole punch I use to punch holes in it for the screws to go through, and that's held the boards on like very strong. There's no bulging from the soil. There's no flex even. Those boards aren't coming off. Yeah, so quite happy with how that turned out. So that's one bed completed. We're also going to be putting another bed same size right next to it, just here. And that should give us a good bit of growing space. Yeah, that's all I wanted to show. Thanks for watching.